Hello everyone, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I'm Jen. I post videos 3 times a week, and today's video I'm going to be testing out the new Maybelline foundation. This is the Superstay Activewear 30-Hour Foundation, and this is what the packaging looks like. It looks very similar to the 24-Hour Superstay. The only difference is this has got a bit of black on the bottle and it says Activewear, but they are very similar. This foundation is $10.99 and you can get it on Beauty Bay, ASOS, Boots and Superdrug, so lots of different places. So if you're interested in seeing how this foundation lasts on my skin, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and let's get straight into the testing video. So I've just put a little layer of moisturiser on. I don't really use a primer. I don't think it makes a huge difference in my makeup routine personally, so I never use a primer. I will be applying the foundation one side with a brush and one side with a sponge. Before I put this on my skin, I'm just going to tell you a few things about this foundation. So this foundation is meant to last 30 hours. I'm not going to test it for 30 hours because I don't really like having makeup on my skin more than 9 hours, so I'll probably test it for about 9 hours. On the Superdrug website, it says it's a matte foundation. It says that it is a highly pigmented full coverage foundation with incredibly lightweight and breathable formula. It says it comes on very smooth and it stays put on your skin. It does minimise the appearance of flaws and imperfections, and it's suitable for all skin types. It's an oil-free formula that doesn't clog pores and is dermatologist tested. So that is everything to know about this foundation. Matte finish. I have combo skin, so my creases of my nose here are quite oily, whereas the main part of my nose is dry. My forehead is quite oily and my chin is quite oily, whereas my cheeks are quite dry. So I do have very combination skin. I've got the shade 03 True Ivory. This is the shade that I was in the 24-Hour Superstay, so I've just picked up the same shade. This foundation also does have a nice big pump like the last one, and I do really love a pump foundation. I think that they are just the best. So I'm going to apply this side of my face with the brush. This is the Superdrug Studio foundation brush, and then on this side of my face I'm going to be using the Superdrug blending sponge. I'm going to start with the brush side of my face first, and I'm just going to pump half a pump on this finger. I do normally only do 1 pump of foundation, and that does look like it is enough. That's half a pump on one side of my face. Let's see how this blends. I do have a few blemishes on my skin and I do have quite a bit of redness. This is definitely going to be interesting to see how full coverage this foundation is. It does look like it is a really nice buildable foundation so far. It seems to be blending into the skin nicely. I think it is a good match for me. It might be just a shade or two a bit pale, but this was the shade I did use last time and I did get on with it, so it might just be the lights that make it look a bit pale on me. Okay, so this side is done with the brush. Very happy with how it's settled into the skin. It doesn't look patchy. It's blended in really nicely with the brush, so I'm very happy with this side. As you can see, there is a clear difference of the coverage. I'm very happy with the coverage. It doesn't look too cakey so far with the brush. It does have a kind of nice natural glow finish to it. I wouldn't say it was too matte at this point. I did put a tiny extra drop just on my jawline just to blend that in because that's where I have like the most redness. It did cover some of it but not all of it in the first go, but I did only do half a pump on this face. But yeah, so far I think it's a really nice foundation. So I'm now going to use the sponge. I'm just going to put slightly more on this side just because I added a bit extra last time. Bit interesting to see how well it covers this little blemish here. Okay, so let's blend it with the sponge. Just finished blending in with the sponge. As you can see, it's definitely not touched that blemish. I do have quite a few like on my nose there that needed covering, and it really hasn't covered it with the beauty blender. I think this side looks more of a natural lighter coverage than the brush side, so I'd say if you really do want that full coverage look, I'd definitely use a brush because this side is definitely a lot more covered than this side, and it definitely hasn't even gone over this tiny blemish at all really. So I definitely say use a sponge if you just want a more natural lighter coverage. So I am going to put some more on this side and hopefully it will cover it. I am really happy with how it's looking on the skin though on both sides. I think it does look like a really nice natural finish. I really don't like cakey foundations. I tend to stay away from them. It has covered that blemish a little bit better now, but not by much. It has covered that little blemish on my nose now. Got a little bit of redness, which I'm happy about. I think it actually blended easier with the sponge, even though it does give off a lighter coverage, because the sponge does soak up quite a lot of product. So I'm very happy with both sides. I think the brush side looks like it has more coverage, whereas the beauty blender side definitely has more of a natural, more even. It's definitely easier to blend with the beauty blender. So I'm just going to do a close-up of my skin. As you can see, it hasn't covered every blemish of my skin, but it has done a really nice even coverage everywhere. It's not really clung to any dry patches. The real test for this foundation is actually going to be on my nose right on the end, because a lot of the time my foundation can like flake off and come off my nose at the end and down the bone here. My nose is looking nice and covered. It's not looking too dry at the minute. I'm definitely not looking oily at all, but it is obviously a matte foundation. My forehead is like the main area throughout the day that does tend to bring out the most oil, so we'll definitely checking back on that area. I'm going to go do the rest of my makeup now, and I'll be back to tell you my thoughts on how it applied with the rest of my makeup, so I'll see you back in a minute. So this is my completed makeup look. I think that nearly everything was okay with blending into the foundation. I did really struggle actually doing the concealer. Like, I was putting the concealer on my blemishes and I felt like it was taking it off. So this is my completed makeup look. It's not looking too dry. It's looking quite dry actually above my lip. That's the only place I'd say at the minute is looking a bit dry and cakey. So next time when I use this foundation, I'm actually going to put less on my mouth area. I think it is a nice full coverage foundation. It does give a really nice natural finish as well. Can we just talk about what is on my eyes? So my mascara that I've used, for the first time I used the Maybelline Last Sensational Sky High mascara. So this is the brand new one, and look what it's done to my lashes. It's really lengthened them and give them volume. I absolutely love that. So that's just a little extra thing. If you really want a new mascara, I'd definitely try the new Sky High mascara by Maybelline. This was amazing. Overall, I think the foundation so far is sitting nicely on the skin, minus my top lip area. I think it's not looking too dry at the minute. I'm also not looking oily at all, which is good. I think the coverage is very good. I'm going to test this foundation for 9 hours, so I will check back in with you after about 4/5 hours to see how the foundation sits on my face. 9 hours is roughly how long I have foundation on, and we'll see how it looks on my combination skin after that amount of time. So I'll check back in with you after 4 hours. I'm at the 4.5 hour mark, so I thought I'd just do a quick check-in with you to show you how the foundation looks on my face. So this is obviously without the lights. You can see that it's still got really good coverage. My skin is looking really smooth still. The only part of my face that's going a bit dry is actually in between my eyebrows here. I don't know how well you can see, but it's starting to separate a little bit. On my nose, I think it still looks really nice. It has worn off a little bit around here, and these little pink marks are just where my glasses have been, so you can just ignore those. But overall, I think the foundation's still looking really nice. I've had my dinner, I've eaten with it, and the foundation still looks really nice around my mouth. It is looking a little bit cakey just here. You can see a bit more of my blemishes coming through here and on my chin, but overall it's lasting a lot longer than a normal foundation would around my mouth. Especially for oiliness on my forehead, I don't feel really oily yet. I think it's still a nice matte finish on my forehead, and the creases of my nose are currently not showing any oiliness either. So far I am really happy with how the foundation's looking at the 4.5 hour mark. So I will check in with you once I have done the full 9 hours. Okay, so we have reached the 9 hour mark. I've had the foundation on for 9 hours. I put it on at 10 AM and it's now 7 PM at night. It is nighttime, so the lighting might be a little bit different. I am really happy with this foundation. I think it does last very well. Obviously I'm never going to try it for the full 30 hours because who would want foundation on for 30 hours. Forehead has only just started to show like the oiliness and around the creases of my nose here. It has come off slightly on my nose down the bone, and it is showing my blemishes, especially around the bottom of my chin area, but it has lasted a lot longer than an average foundation, and I definitely think it is worth picking up and trying, especially if you want a nice foundation for work or school that you want a nice coverage throughout the day. I think this foundation sits nicely for at least 7 hours. The dryness, I haven't really seen that much dryness. There's a tiny bit of dryness that's kind of clumped up on the sides of my nose here, and there's definitely dryness in between my eyebrows, which I do normally get. It has worn off around this part of my cheeks, but overall I don't think it's a bad foundation. I think if you have really oily skin, this foundation would be perfect for you. I think the oil control of this foundation is very good. I think it is a really nice natural finish as well. It's not too cakey on the face. I am happy with the overall result even from this stage. Like, I feel like my skin does still look really nice. So I think I'd rate this foundation a good 8.9 out of 10. So that is my review on the Maybelline 30H Superstay Activewear foundation. I will definitely be using this foundation as my kind of work foundation. Very happy with the coverage and how it lasts over at least the 6/7 hour period. So that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!